What we do here is go back.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to episode 57 of the Lost Media podcast. Today we are talking about very recently found lost media. It's actually really exciting. Rock Odyssey, the English version, and in not bad quality, I'm hoping, has been found. I'm saying I'm hoping because the VHS copy of it has been found and it just needs to be transferred and then dumped online. This is huge. I've got Notellu's amazing video on this topic playing behind me. Guys, check out his video in the description. Pause this and watch his first. It's going to be much better. It's going to be. That's a bit rough. It is probably much better than this video, but I'm talking about the brief details of Rock Odyssey and the whole story as to how this thing became a very elusive piece of lost media. It's a feature-length film, a feature-length animated film, and it actually looks really, really good. Now, I should preface, this has actually been released for quite a while online, but it has been a Spanish version that has been released for many years, and it's in pretty average and choppy quality. Notellu's done a lot of work on trying to fix it and trying to make it a good, version of this, and his video about it is just really, really cool to watch. It's probably the best video anyone could possibly make on this topic. Like, I really like just the transitions of the Hollywood music and pictures of Hollywood buildings. It feels like I'm in LA in the 1940s. It's really, really cool. So Notellu, man, he's definitely not watching this, but that is a brilliant, brilliant video. So Rock Odyssey had a crazy, crazy story up until being found 3 days ago. I just looked at the date to check. It was discovered on the 13th of May, 2023. And user, I think it's the J guy. I don't know his username, but he's done a lot of Lost Media contributions recently to the Lost Media community and the Lost Media wiki. And he uploaded a picture of the VHS copy, the English VHS copy of Rock Odyssey. And it is so exciting. It is very exciting. He's probably going to put it on archive.org because I think that's the only website that will allow it. And it will potentially get taken down because of the music, which is what I'm going to discuss in a second. So people are going to have to download it very quick. But it has been discovered. It exists. Someone in the community has this. And I'm fucking keen to give it a watch because it looks very, very good, actually. It looks like it's a genuinely decent show. So, the story behind Rock Odyssey. Where do we even start with this? Well, I'm going to start with when this film was trying to be released. This film was almost fully completed, and it was about to be released by Hanna-Barbera's film division. These are the people who obviously made the Flintstones, very popular, the Jetsons, very popular cartoons in the 1960s and 70s. And then they got into making really kind of teen adult films. They made Charlotte's Web. That wasn't a teen adult film. But then they got into making some really, I guess, mature-aged animated work. And it reached cult status eventually, but at the time didn't really do that well. And Rock Odyssey was their, next big production in 1981 to 1982. It was scheduled for a release. So it's almost fully completed. And the people who run the division, the head honchos, look at the movie, and there's a very important piece where there's a song playing to the theme of a girl falling in love with a guy at a protest, and then the guy gets drafted to the Vietnam War. It's obviously music of a time period. That's what it's meant to portray. And he goes to the Vietnam War and has a horrible time, sees some horrible things, and comes back with war neurosis and PTSD. And seemingly there's no real explanation in the scene, but dies, and she's really sad about it. And that's the sequence. And they watched this and they thought, you can't have this in your movie. This is horrible. This is very poor tone. This is not what we want in the movie. Because it's only 7 years after the Vietnam War ended. This movie was meant to be released. So really it's ahead of its time. It's not a product of the times, even though it's seemingly a brilliant sequence that they put together from the clips I saw that will be playing behind me soon. Couldn't be released. So you're probably wondering as well, guys, how's there so much footage of this film floating around? Have to mention it again very briefly. The Spanish version and the whole movie, I'm pretty sure, has existed for a long time, and the songs intact in English have existed. It's just when the characters talk, it's not in English, and the quality is choppy, so the frame rate is just terrible. And the found version that's been found 3 days ago is the proper thing. So I'll say that for the last time because I've already said it. So that sequence gets shown to the guys, and they're like, that are running this, and they're like, oh no, there might have been women too running this division. Why am I just saying the guys? And it's like, no, we're going to delay the release of this. The movie's almost fully completed, and guys, making an animated movie, especially something this audacious, it was meant to be the rock version of Disney's Fantasia. Like, it's seriously like, they're going for it here. They're going for something really unique. When I first heard about this topic yesterday, literally just yesterday, I first found out this topic existed. I thought this is a very unique piece of animated movie history. This is something that never has been done before this and has never been done since. And there's a big reason behind that, and that is copyright infringement and the amount of money it costs to use songs that are extremely popular in your film. So the movie, that's what I'm getting to next. That's the terrible way of segueing it, because I do have to explain that obviously they see that scene and they're like, oh, let's just delay it for a bit. They delay it for a further 6 years. In 1987, they plan on releasing it again. They add a sequence. They add a sequence of I think it's a bear or something character from Hanna-Barbera bear character. Yeah, I think it's the iconic bear, Yogi Bear. I think it is. Sorry, guys, if I sound freaking stupid, but I am not that familiar with all the iconic Hanna-Barbera characters. I think it is Yogi Bear singing a cover of "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go" by Wham. They decided to add this last minute to replace a copyrighted work. I think in the middle of the movie, I'm pretty sure it takes place. So this thing could get a release on television. And you watch this scene back, and it's "Wake me up before you go go," but it's more like wake me up inside. Can't wake me up inside. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm sorry I had to make that terrible joke. That's been a theme of my channel's history, of both my channels' history. Now, I'm really disappointed in that, but that's what it's more like. It's crawling in my crawl, having to sit through that sequence, that really god awful sequence. So the movie gets shelved again. Essentially, they're planning to air it on ABC's primetime, family lineup. But I think I know that there's also copyright issues, and they just can't get the damn thing on television. So there's a convention where they show a bunch of new animated works, kind of like Sigograph, which is what I mentioned in a recent video on Johnny Quasar. It's just this convention where, they play a bunch of cool works. They played the Pixar short with the lights, one of the first Pixar animation things. I think it's the first one, with the two lights and the ball. And I think they played another really iconic piece of animated history there. And I can't quite remember it for now, but when I saw it being mentioned in this video that it was played there, I was like, no freaking way. They actually played that there. You got to watch his video, guys, in the description, and it's playing behind me, to see what iconic piece of animated history they played there. But they also played Rock Odyssey at this convention. They played it once and never again. And it's at a convention, so in the 1980s, so people don't typically have a video camera on them to just carry a giant VHS camera in to just pirate the movie. It's like, hey, I'm here for the convention. I'm definitely not pirating this movie that hasn't been released. I'm just holding this camera because I'm doing a little documentary. Yeah, no one was there like that. That another really good joke for this podcast. So it's released there. This is so bad, and that's it. It's forgotten about. No one remembers it. But it does get an airing in Spain in the 1980s, hence the Spanish version that's been around for a little while on the internet. Since I think the mid-2000s it's been on the internet. Since the advent of, online media sharing, pretty much, this thing's been around. Gets aired in Spain twice, I think, in the 1980s. Don't know how it got aired there. And this is the only places around the world that it's aired. And then in 2011 in Singapore, it gets aired. Don't ask me how or why it gets aired there. I'm just as baffled and confused as you guys. It might have been South Korea, not Singapore. But I don't understand why it's being aired 20 or 25 plus years later from its original airing. Just randomly once on their version of Boomerang, I think it was. Yeah, really, really bizarre, really strange. So there's only 3, I guess, known airings of this. Twice, as I said, in Spain in the 80s, and then that one weird one in Singapore in 2011, or South Korea. I'm pretty sure it's Singapore, but it might be South Korea. And that's what we know about Rock Odyssey. That's it. You can't find it anywhere. It doesn't exist. Until recently, a picture of a master copy was uploaded to the Lost Media Wiki, and the Lost Media Wiki changed its listing of it from partially found to found on the 13th of May 2023, 3 days ago from this video. And as I mentioned earlier, it has not been uploaded yet, to my knowledge. You guys can correct me in the comments and post it in the comments if it has been uploaded and you can find it. But I'm pretty sure the VHS master copy has been found by the same person who found the JBV Dragon Ball Z crossover, I think, which is what I'm about to talk about in the Lost Media podcast. So the story behind this makes it extremely fascinating. Very recently found Lost Media for me. It's one of the coolest, very recently found Lost Media. In fact, in my opinion, of all the recently found Lost Media videos I've watched recently, I've watched in the last couple of years where, YouTubers cover what's been found and what hasn't in recent times. This is one of the coolest, if not the coolest. This takes me back to the Electric Piper days where that full movie was discovered. But this is almost even cooler because this movie looked like it had a lot of creativity and effort put into it and was just next level with what they went for to do with this. Now, the copyright is the last thing I'll talk about in this Lost Media podcast. Episode 57 of the Lost Media podcast, to be specific. So a lot of the songs featured in this are very well-known songs. It is in part, that's mainly the reason why it hasn't been able to be aired or released anywhere. That and the movie is very obscure and is kind of forgotten to time. Stairway to Heaven was in this movie. No, I'm thinking of another example of copyrighted work in Wayne's World, where Stairway to Heaven is played on guitar in the original movie in theaters, and then for the VHS release, they had to compromise and just have Michael, what's his name? Michael Myers. They had to have Michael Myers, guys, turn around and look behind him. And it says Stairway to Heaven not allowed for the VHS version. And that leads me to my final point. My final point on the Rock Odyssey. I'm almost there, guys. And that is that this awesome movie couldn't have been released to home viewers. Gee, that was very loud and annoying. That couldn't have into the mic. Sorry, guys. Because of the fucking music. And this is one of the things that pisses me off the most about modern day media and media of the last 50, 60 years is copyrighted music and how music has stopped so much brilliance from being released and people have had to, cut little corners. I want to make a show one day and I have made a full effort to use very little known Australian music because I know that the cost of using that will be far less than using Stairway to Heaven, for example, or, songs that have 300, 100 plus million Spotify listeners. They cost a fortune to use in television shows. So they wanted to release it on video. They wanted to release it on television. Neither could happen. The home media releases, music copyrighted, television didn't want it anymore. It was too many years later. And it's played at this one convention, but I don't understand how it was allowed to be aired in Spain. It must have just fallen through the cracks and someone got a copy of it and there were no, laws. On television, it wasn't aired, I think, in the 80s because they just weren't interested in it anymore. I think that's the real reason. On ABC, and then in Spain they had an interest in it for whatever reason to air the movie. So this should have got a home media release, but it didn't because of the copyrighted music, and that's the main antithesis to this. And that is the big point is, how do you upload this online? Where do you put this? Archive.org is quite good to put stuff on that is got a lot of copyrighted works in it. However, for a movie like Rock Odyssey that uses a lot of popular songs, it still might get erased from archive.org because they've got a lot of loose lawsuits on their hands, and they're tightening up their restrictions on copyrighted works and that being allowed to stay on that website. So I think it has to be uploaded there, and a bunch of people need to download it and put it on even more, I guess, even better websites where it has a less likelihood of being taken down. But I think it should stay up on archive.org when it gets uploaded, and it should be uploaded very soon. I think the VHS photo was uploaded to the Lost Media Wiki, and it just has to be sent to people who can transfer the VHS to digital files. I really hope, guys, one day if you guys ever find a piece of lost media that the internet's looking for on VHS, and you're Australian and you live in Australia, it doesn't cost you a fortune overseas to post it to Australia, post it to me. Just because I have all the technology to transfer something from VHS to a digital file, and then I can upload it. Don't do that every time. I'm a very shady person, for God's sakes. This has to end. There you go, guys. There's Rock Odyssey. I can't freaking wait to see it. I dressed in flannel just for this episode because I'm a rocker. Rock on. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I really can't wait to see it, and it needs to be uploaded very soon. It does kind of worry me that something's listed as found on the Lost Media Wiki, but hasn't been posted yet online. Is that technically found? It is. But look forward to it, guys, because it's really cool. I love looking at very recently found lost media. This is the first time I fucking got the chance to look at it. Sorry. Didn't swear the whole podcast, and then at the very end I drop an F-bomb. I'm trying to remove that in case I ever get monetized. Guys, this episode's so scuffed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys enjoy watching the movie. And I hope you guys enjoy very recently found lost media. I will be looking at it more and more. And thank you to the Discord server and the Happy News channel on that Lost Media YouTubers Discord server. Talking to you guys for mentioning this and notifying this, and the Johnny Bravo one, which I'm talking about today in the next episode. Spoiler. Thanks, guys. The end. See you next episode. Goodbye. Bye.